Hello, my friends. We are back in business with episode 63 of the Nourish and Strengthen podcast. I don't know if you missed me or if you noticed I was gone, but I did take a little bit of a podcast break. I was just in a little bit of a funk, feeling like I needed some new topics. I felt like I was saying the same thing over and over again. Hopefully, you guys didn't pick up on that, but I just needed a little bit of a break to kind of reset my mind, get some new topics going, get some fresh ideas, and we're back. We're back. I have got a whole bunch of fun podcasts planned for you guys. And today, in episode 63, what we are talking about is the reverse dieting study that I participated in. Actually, I'm still participating in it. I've gotten a lot of questions about it. I've shared a little bit here and there on social media about it, but I wanted to do a deep dive here on the podcast and share all the details, the nitty gritty details that I did not share on social media. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. So, what this is, I think they're just calling it right now the reverse dieting study. I don't even know. It is through Dr. Bill Campbell. He is a physique researcher through USF, I think University of Southern Florida, I believe. I know it's a university in Florida. I think that's where he is. But the unique thing about him, you guys, is that most research is done on unhealthy or overweight individuals, right? There is not a lot of research on the lean, the already healthy population because research is expensive. And most companies don't want to pay to put out research on people that are already otherwise healthy and lean, right? And so he is a quote unquote physique researcher. So his research is really specific and unique to people who are already training, already healthy, already at a good body fat level that they just want to get more optimized, right? So the goal of this study is finding out the best way to help people maintain their weight loss after a diet phase or a fat loss phase, okay? So a lot of people, well, let me just kind of break down some terms here. Reverse dieting. What is that? Reverse dieting is the process of getting calories from the low end, the end of a diet phase, back up to your maintenance calories. Okay. And so there are lots of different ways to do this. You can go really, really slow, add in, like 50 calories a week. You can go really fast. You can go straight up to maintenance if you want. Or you can do a few like bigger jumps, so you can go a little bit faster. There's a variety of ways to do this, but either way, it's really, really important after a diet phase to work calories back up to maintenance level, because if you just go right back to what you were doing before, get calories super, super high, made up of not the best foods, you are going to gain your weight back. Okay. So the whole goal of this study is really finding out what is the best way to help people maintain their weight loss after a diet phase. Okay. So you might wonder, why did I want to participate in this? You're probably thinking, Lindsay, you already were healthy. You already looked great. Why did you want to do this? Because in order to be part of the reverse dieting portion, you have to do a dieting portion, right? Obviously. Well, I just think Dr. Bill Campbell is super awesome. And I thought the idea, I'm kind of a science nerd, I always have been. And so I thought the idea of participating in an actual research study was so cool. And I didn't have to live in Florida. Okay. It's all over the place. It's all remote. And so I thought that would be really, really fun. I also thought it would be a great way for me to relate to clients and the people that I talk to every single day and just remind myself how hard dieting is. Also, a little bit of a challenge. I wanted to see how and if I could lose weight after 40 in perimenopause. I'm right there with you guys, having the symptoms of perimenopause, all the things. And I wanted to show myself and the world that it could be done, right? So that's kind of my why of why I wanted to do this. So let's talk about the setup of the study. They needed 500 people. Okay. They wanted a lot of people because they knew that not everyone would finish the study. Okay. So 500 people. And here's kind of how it started. And I'm going to go through my experience with each of these phases, but let me kind of give you an overview of the 3 phases of the study. So phase 1 of the study is maintenance. So they're trying to figure out your maintenance calories. Okay. So the idea was that it would take they said 2 to 8 weeks 2 to 4 is probably more realistic. But what it was is for the first 2 weeks, you're just tracking your calories. You're tracking everything you put in your mouth, every single thing, because it's science, people. They want exact numbers, right? So for 2 weeks, you're tracking your intake. Okay. And then what they do after that is they look at that intake, they look at your weight. So every single day I was reporting my calories, my protein, notice just calories and protein, because science says that's what matters the most, right? Calories, protein, and daily weight. Okay. So we are taking out those fluctuations. We're looking at the daily weight and taking the average, which I actually love. Love that approach because you don't get so tied into the fluctuations. You see them for what they are. It's not as big of a deal. You just learn to know that your body weight fluctuates day by day, right? For lots of different reasons. So on week 3, they look at your average calories and they look to see if you were maintaining your body weight, and they set what they estimate to be your maintenance calories. And then you follow those for another week or 2 until you have found weight stability. Okay. So for them, weight stability was no more of a change in averages of over, I think it was like 1%. So, for me, I started at 143 or so pounds. So like no more of a fluctuation of averages than about 1.5 pounds or so. Okay. So that if you don't find weight stability within 8 weeks, you're kicked out of the study. So that means if you're just continuing to gain for whatever reason, or if you can't get calories like high enough and you're continuing to lose for whatever reason, if you don't find that weight stability and find that true maintenance within 8 weeks, they cut you from the study. Okay. So that's phase 1. Phase 2 is the diet phase. So what they do here, and this is the same for everyone. Okay. It's the same across the board for everyone. They put you in a 30% deficit until you lose 5% of your body weight. So it really is, it's custom to the person because you found out your true maintenance calories, right? The deficit here is quite aggressive. Okay. I don't know why they did it this way, but my guess as to why they did it this way would be so that everyone was standardized across the whole study, right? We have a research assistant that we check in with each week. I'll give you guys more info on that, what that looks like. But my guess is they didn't want to leave too much up to chance. If they started you at a less aggressive deficit and then left it up to the research assistant to drop your deficit as needed, there's too much like individualization there, right? They want everyone doing the exact same thing. Okay. So that was the diet phase, 30% deficit until you lose 5% of your body weight. Okay. The third phase is the reverse phase. So this is what they're actually testing, right? They have to get all of their subjects into a place where they have recently lost the weight, and then they're testing the best way to maintain it. Does that make sense? So in the reverse phase, you have 3 groups. So one group is a traditional reverse diet where they're adding calories every single week up to maintenance. Okay. The second group is going straight up to maintenance. So from your calories, your 30% deficit calories, straight up to your perceived maintenance. And then the third group is a control group. So you got to have a control group for every study, right? And in this control group, they give no guidance. Okay. They say, do what you want. If you know how to reverse diet and you want to reverse yourself, great. If you want to go straight back up to maintenance, great. If you want to do something in between, whatever. They just ask you to continue to report what you're doing. And this, actually, let me back up. The diet phase is a max of 15 weeks. Okay. So if you don't lose 5% of your body weight in 15 weeks, they kick you out. Probably so this study doesn't go on forever is what I would imagine. The reverse phase is also 15 weeks, but that phase, this phase 3, is 15 weeks for everyone. You continue to track and report for 15 weeks. Okay. So that is the setup of the study. So do you guys want to know how I did? You want to know how I did? Okay. I'm actually, while I'm recording this, I am pulling up my tracker and I'm just walk you through everything week by week if you're curious. Okay. All right. So week 1, maintenance. I was coming into this not tracking my food, and it turns out I was eating a little bit less than I thought I was. So I averaged, not really. Okay, not really. I averaged, let's see, my average body weight for week 1 was 143.0. Okay. And I had been maintaining that pretty well for a long time, for like years. My average calories that I tracked in week 1 were 1754, and my average protein was 130. Okay. Pretty solid right there. Like I said, my calories were a little lower than I thought, but that's okay. But I did kind of have a little freak out moment after week 1 because I was like, oh my gosh, if I don't get my calories up, then my dieting calories are going to be really low. So I was in this kind of weird mental space where I was like, okay, I need to eat as much as I can while still maintaining my weight, because when they drop those calories, it's going to be dependent on how much I'm eating right now, right? So week 2, I bumped my calories up a bit. Week 2, my average was 1910. My body weight actually, or my average body weight dropped about a half pound. It dropped to 142.3, so maybe 3/4 of a pound actually. That was just a normal fluctuation. I was fluctuating between 142 and 144 for a long time. And then protein intake on average week 2 was 140, 141. Okay. So what I thought they were going to do was look at those 2 weeks and assign me maintenance calories. So that's what they said they would do in the beginning. So my guess was my maintenance calories would probably be high 1800s, maybe right around that 1900. But what they did was, I think because I had maintained really like solidly across those 2 weeks, is they just moved me straight on to the diet phase. So my maintenance phase was only 2 weeks. And then let's see, the maintenance calories they set for me were an average of, I'm pulling up my document, were an average of those 2 weeks. So they set my maintenance calories at 1830, which is not really surprising. That was my assumption, was that my maintenance calories were in the 1800s. You know, guys, I am one of those people. I am not one of those people actually who is on social media that's like, look at how I eat 2,400 calories a day and maintain my body weight. That's not me. I am your very typical perimenopausal woman who wishes her metabolism was a bit faster. Okay. So 1,800 calories is about my maintenance. Okay. So that's what we did. We started with 1,830 calories. Starting body weight average was 142.6. So my 30% deficit, are you guys ready for this? Don't freak out. I'm telling you, it's an aggressive approach. And there are pros and cons to this, which I'm going to go over at the end with my takeaways. But my calorie target was 1282. 1282. Okay. They also gave me a protein target. My protein target was lower than I thought it was going to be. It was 106. Okay. I think so. Let me actually scroll over here. Yes, protein target was 106. That sounds low for people. It sounded low to me too, but this is science. This is research. And actually, guys, the researched amount of protein needed for muscle protein synthesis and maintaining your body weight is lower than we think. It's like 0.7 to 8 grams per pound of body weight. I think 0.7 is what that calculated out to. In science, they do kilograms. I don't think in kilograms. So I've translated all of this to pounds. So it's easier to understand, more relatable. It was easier for me as I was following along to think about it in pounds as well. So week 1, guys, week 1, this was on June 10th that I started the diet phase. So week 1, I dropped from, my average was 142.6. I dropped down to 142.1. So about a half pound. Okay. And I was right on track. My target my calories were 1260. Protein was 106. Another note on the protein, that is a low. They just didn't want you dropping below that. Okay. You can go higher than it, but they didn't want you dropping below it. So it's not like you had to hit that amount. If you're used to 140 grams of protein and you wanted to keep it that high, you could. For me, with a target of 1,280 calories, I had a really hard time getting protein that high without or while feeling like I was still having balanced meals. So personally, I kind of appreciated the lower protein target. I'm not going to take you like week by week and tell you calories and everything. I'm just going to kind of go through the highlights. So overview, it took me, I had to lose 7 pounds. That was 5% of my body weight. My target was 135.2. And it took me to lose 7 pounds. It took me 7 weeks. Exactly. So that was pretty awesome. But let me tell you about what happened about 3 weeks in, okay? So week 1, I lost a half a pound. Week 2, I lost 1.5 pounds. Okay, so you'll see as I talk you guys through this that progress is not linear, okay? Week 2, I lost 1.5 pounds. Week 3, I lost 1 pound. Week 4, I lost no pounds, okay? So 7 days, I was the same. I did hurt my back at the gym. Not like major, nothing where I didn't have to go to a doctor or anything, but I just kind of tweaked it. And it affected my workouts. I had some bad back pain. I was taking some ibuprofen for a few days. I feel like for me, that kind of causes some inflammation that can kind of mask weight loss. Okay. And then towards the end of that week, I started ovulating. And for me, when I ovulate, my weight goes up a pound or two. Okay. So week 4, I did not lose anything. Week 5, week 5, let's see, hold on. Between weeks 3 and 4, I actually had a 15-day plateau. So it was kind of like week 3 and week 4, okay? 15-day plateau. I'm going to talk to you guys at the end about what I did to move through that and kind of what my mindset was. Right now, I'm just giving you an overview, okay? So week 3 and 4, 15-day plateau. And I was like, okay, let's get the show going again. Week 5, I was down, let's see. Hold on, I lost my notes here. Week 5, I was down, just a half pound. So it was like weeks 3 to 5, somewhere in there. But then you guys, week 6, I was down 2.5 pounds. And this is what I found that happens when you're in, I'm kind of going into my thoughts, my overview, my takeaways. But when you are in a longer plateau like that, your drop is usually a little bit bigger at the end of it. And so it's almost like the longer the plateau, the bigger drop you're going to see at the end. So I kind of like to tell people, when your weight is stuck, stay the course. Don't go off track, because the longer you're stuck, the bigger your reward is going to be at the end of it. So 2.5 pounds in week 6. Okay. Week 7 was just under another 2 pounds, like 1.5 pounds. And then actually, no, that was it. That's right. That's it right there. It took my average down to 134.8. Okay. So just under my goal. So 7 weeks, 7 pounds. But for 2.5 weeks of that, or 15 days of that, I was completely stuck. And my weight actually went up a couple pounds, probably around my ovulation. But so I hit my goal week 7 and moved on to the reverse dieting group. So you might be wondering, what group was I assigned to? I was assigned to the control group. So in the control group, they give you no guidance. Okay. No guidance. Whitney, my head coach, Whitney Larson, she's doing the study as well, and so is Moxie coach Cami and Moxie coach Amanda. So Whitney was assigned to the reverse dieting group. So I can share her results another time. And then Cami and Amanda are still in the dieting phase. They started a little bit after Whitney and I, about a month after. So I would love to do another podcast to follow up and kind of share their results as well. But for me, in the control group, I was like, okay, I knew that if I was assigned this control group, I wanted to just do a kind of a faster reverse. I wanted to add about 100 calories a week. So a little bit faster than like a traditional slow reverse, but not quite going straight up to maintenance. So what happened for me, guys, I am actually on right now, I'm on week 7. Actually, I'm in week 8 of the 15 weeks of this group, and I'm down another like 3 pounds. So what happened was week 1, I added 100 calories, lost another pound. This can happen in a reverse, guys. It's not super common, but it can happen. Okay. Week 2, I added another 100 calories and I was down another pound. Okay. Then it started kind of evening out a bit. Week 3, I added 80 more calories. I was down about 0.8 pounds. Okay. Week 4, my calories were the same. So by now they were up to, where is it? Like high 1500s. Okay. High 1500s. And I maintained my weight. Does that mean my maintenance is 1500? No, not at all. Okay. I continued to increase. So week 5, I added about 50 calories and I was up about 0.5 pound, but that week I was ovulating. Okay. Week 6, I added another 100 calories. So we're up to high 1600s now, and my weight is the same. So it was still up that 0.5 pound, but net, I was up about 400 calories and down 2 pounds since the end of my diet phase. Week 7, which was last week, I added 140 calories. I traveled last week, and so my calories were about 140 up, which was about 1,800 calories. So I think I'm getting close to my maintenance again. And I was actually down a pound. Okay. So my average right now my average weight is about 131.5, but I am at the time in my cycle when I'm at my lowest. So I fully expect over the next couple of weeks for it to go up a little bit and then probably come back down. Okay. Because if you are a female who has tracked their weight throughout their cycle, Everyone's different. Most people actually gain a couple pounds when they're on their period and in their luteal phase right before their period. I am a weird one. I'm the opposite. My weight is usually at its lowest right around that time, and it's at its highest 2 weeks later when I'm ovulating. I don't know. I'm sure there are some of you out there that are the same way. Some people, their weight goes up around their period and ovulation. Mine is just, it is what it is, you know? So pretty cool that 7 weeks after my diet, I am up, let's see, about 550 calories or so. And my average weight is about 3 pounds down from where I ended my diet phase. So that is kind of the overview. Measurements, let's see. I haven't actually, oh, there we are. I'm down about 8 inches overall. If I add it all together with like my chest, waist, glutes, thigh, that kind of thing. So pretty fun. I'm actually at a place where I feel super, super confident and I feel really good in all my clothes. I feel really strong in the gym. I'm sleeping great. My biofeedback is amazing. And I feel really confident in my skin. And that's a place where I've been for a while, but I feel even better where I'm at now. So I wanted to give you guys kind of my feedback, my takeaways. Okay. So here's some takeaways from the dieting phase. Yes, 30% deficit is aggressive, but you guys, I don't know. I am kind of coming to the conclusion, and I've thought this for a long time, but I am at the conclusion where I think it's better to be a little more aggressive and make your diet phase quick. Okay. I think that is so much better than being in a smaller deficit, but doing it for 6 months, 9 months, a year. And don't get me wrong. Some people if they have a higher weight loss goal, they're going to need more time. But I think if you can stick to it, being more aggressive and keeping that fat loss phase shorter is actually better for your hormones. But if you can't stick to it, don't do it. Don't do it, okay? Because for many people, or some people, I don't know, some or many, cutting calories 30% might lead you to binge or to have mindless snacking or to just get some bad habits. I was in a good place mentally, relationship with food, that kind of thing, where I could handle it. And so my diet phase was really short. Okay. Let me talk about that 15-day plateau. How did I get through it? You might think like, oh my gosh, were you so frustrated? And I wasn't. Like, I knew the logical part of me knew 100% that a 30% deficit, as aggressive as that was going to get me the result that I wanted. I was annoyed because I'm like, oh my gosh, of course. Like, I hurt my back. I am ovulating. I'm taking ibuprofen for my back, which causes a little bit of water retention for me. And I was a couple weeks in, and after a couple weeks, sometimes you do just kind of see a little bit of a stall. But there was no doubt in my mind that if I continued to stay on track, that those results would catch up with me. And so that's what I see happening, you guys, with myself. This happened to Whitney in her diet phase as well. She had about the same amount of a plateau, and then saw a big drop afterwards. We had a client once, this happens a lot, but we had one client once that in the first 5 weeks, she didn't see any change on the scale. She was like frustrated. She was about ready to give up. But guess what happened on week 6? She lost like 3 pounds. And then week 7, she lost like another pound or 2. And then it all kind of caught up with her. Okay. So to where she averaged about 3/4 or a pound a week. Okay. And so what you can take from this is you have to just trust the process. And when you hit a plateau, because everybody will, when you hit a plateau, you have to know that there are results on the other side of it. And more often than not, the longer the plateau you went through, the longer your plateau was, the better your results are going to be. Okay. Have you guys seen that meme where there's like a miner and he's like trying to carve out a cave and there's diamonds right on the other side? And I'm not describing this very well, but it's like the closer you get to the diamonds, if you give up and you walk away, you would have never found those diamonds. But if you were to just keep on going and keep sticking to plan, all those diamonds are right there. And I have found that more often than not, the longer the plateau you are stuck in, the better your results are going to be right on the other side of it. Okay, so just try to keep that in mind. Okay. One other thing, a takeaway from my dieting phase is tracking every single thing, the 5-calorie drinks, the mints, all the veggies, everything that was new for me. Okay. Even when I competed, I didn't track veggies, but this was for science. I was super motivated. I was like, I kind of want to know exactly how many calories I'm eating. This is kind of fun. I looked at it as a fun experiment. It was not drudgery. It was not annoying to me. I really, really enjoyed it. I did not take free meals. Okay. During that whole time, I did calorie cycle. So what I did was I cut calories about 50 throughout the week. And then I had one day on the weekend where I could add about 250 or so and still average out to where I wanted to be. But honestly, I feel like tracking everything did make a big difference for me, and not having those free meals made a big difference for me. Not saying you need to do this. That's not what I'm saying here. With our clients, we let them have their free veggies. We let them have a free meal, those kind of things. This is just something that I did, and it was eye-opening for me. Okay. Let's see. I think those are my main takeaways. The actual study data is not going to be released probably for a long time because research just does take time. But I'd love to do a follow-up episode with the results from Cami and Amanda and Whitney. And I also love to do a follow-up episode when they release all of this data. So if you guys are interested in taking more of an aggressive approach for a shorter time period like I did, we can absolutely coach you this way, okay? If you can be consistent with the deficit and not let it have any negative repercussions with your your relationship with food, your mindset, that kind of thing, I think it can be a really great thing. So if you are a Moxie client listening to this and you are intrigued, talk to your coach. Okay. Talk to your coach. We can totally try this out with you. If you're someone who's like, man, that's really intriguing, I'd love to try that whole process, go ahead and reach out to me on social media because we can absolutely do the same kind of thing with you as a client, same exact process. Okay. When you do something so aggressive, it is so advantageous to have a coach. You guys have that accountability because there probably would have been times where, I was hungry and I probably would have reached for things that I didn't because I was reporting to someone all of my numbers every single day. That accountability was there. So that is kind of my recap, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on social media, but I am excited to be back with you for weekly episodes. Next week, we have an amazing guest. I'm super excited to share that episode. It's all about your mindset and how important it is in your fitness journey with how you think about things. So I will talk to you guys then. I hope you all have a wonderful week.